kādas divas valstis, iesaistot visus NATO sabiedrotos un kā tas izskatās praktiski. Tas nozīmē, ka mēs esam gan 5G, tādas jau digitālās attīstības jomā ļoti pastiprinājuši visu NATO kapacitāti, gan kiberdrošības jomā mēs spējam arī kopā mācīties un trenēties. Mēs kopā šobrīd arī apmācam Ukrainas karavīrus šeit Latvijā. Mēs kopā radam jaunus līmeņus, kādā veidā mēs vispār NATO ietvaros strādājam, un mēs kopā arī plānojam dažādas aktivitātes, ja iestātos pamieris vai miers Ukrainā. Un tie ir jautājumi, kas tiek risināti gan politiskajā līmenī, gan arī operatīvi mūsu bruņoto spēku līmenī. Un jāsaka, tā sadarbība patiešām ir ļoti novērtējama, un tādējādi mēs arī stiprinam visu kopējo NATO, jo tas, ka mēs arī kopīgi varam NATO mācību šeit organizēt, palīdz arī mums kā politiķiem un arī daudzām citām mūsu gan pašvaldībām, gan mūsu sabiedrībai vispār saprast, ko nozīmē situācija, kurā varētu iestāties kāda krīzes situācija šeit un kā mēs rīkotos. Un tas stiprina gan mūsu sabiedrotos, kas ir Latvijā, gan arī mūsu pašus.
Bon. OK. Merci. Alors, en ce qui concerne vos questions, votre question, vos questions économiques, on commence avec la question sur contre-cœur, le port de Montréal. Et il se peut que le contre-cœur puisse être un des premiers projets de l'intérêt national. C'est une possibilité. Ce n'est pas nécessairement le premier projet. Okay, premier point. Deuxième point. En ce qui concerne une épreuve environnementale, absolument, il faut le faire. Il faut le faire. Et c'est une des questions. On a l'occasion, avec le projet de loi, le C5, d'avoir une épreuve environnementale à l'échelle du Québec, dans ce cas. Au lieu d'une à l'échelle fédérale, au fédéral et puis au Québec. Alors, ça, c'est une des efficacités qui existent maintenant. On verra, on peut décider. J'ai eu une discussion avec le Premier ministre Legault en ce qui concerne l'avantage d'avoir un accord, un projet, une revue, comme le gouvernement du Canada a avec la Colombie-Britannique. Okay, ça c'est la première partie. En ce qui concerne la possibilité, encore on utilise le subjonctif, la possibilité d'avoir un chantier naval au Canada, évidemment, TMKS l'a dit, c'est une possibilité, on verra. Mais les bénéfices industriels qui seront liés aux navires, ou dans ce cas les sous-marins, ils seront importants pour la décision du gouvernement du Canada, pour l'option de la Corée et puis de l'option de l'Allemagne et Norvège. Okay? On the Montreal, in effect, the Port of Montreal Contrecoeur, which is an extension, as you know, of the Port of Montreal, that could be one of the first projects. I'm not saying it's definitively one of the first projects. That's the first point. The second point is with respect to environmental assessment. There has to be an environmental assessment, to be clear, under C5. What C5 creates, and it can be supplemented by an accord between Quebec and the federal government, in the same manner that we have with British Columbia and the federal government, and we're working on with other provinces, where we can delegate that responsibility, in this case, to Quebec. And that's one of the ways that we can move much more quickly, no duplication. We use the resources either at one level or the other. That's the bit you wanted? Yeah.
Paldies, ir pienācis laiks pēdējam mediju jautājumam. Otrajā rindā.
Bill Curry from the Globe and Mail. Just to clear up, this morning it seemed like you were saying that those two projects, Churchill and Côte-de-Curl, would be on the list of approved. So I don't know if you could clear that up.
C'était en français ce matin. Hein? C'est une
Exactement.
question de traduction
okay.
de quelqu'un. C'est pas évident. OK?
Also,
c'est possibilité. J'ai dit c'est une possibilité, une des premières.
Also asking, hoping to get some clarity on your government's position on trade with the United States.
Sure.
Following your Friday announcement. So this morning you talked about how you're seeking areas of cooperation in 5 areas. You listed critical minerals, autos, steel, aluminum, copper. What does that cooperation look like, and how is that different from what your government was trying to achieve ahead of that August 1st deadline?
So just to be the way I'd frame it, Mr. Curry, is this way, which is that again, what I was saying in C'était en français ce matin également, right? It was in French. So what I said was 85% of our trade is free trade. At present, we have the best deal, et cetera. You know that point. There are 5 areas where that is not the case, and that those are in strategic sectors for the Americans: aluminum, steel, autos, copper. They happen to have a specific on copper, and then, of course, lumber, softwood lumber, which has been an issue. So those are the areas where immediately we are focused on improving the outcomes, if we can. And in order to do that, and this is what I said on Friday, in order to do that, we will have to look at other areas where we can have win-win cooperation, other areas. Now, so it's not, it's an isolation of the set of issues around there, around those strategic sectors for the American. And all of this in the context, as you know, of an upcoming review on CUSMA that will start next year, but in effect we're beginning to prepare for it now, and I would expect the Americans to be doing the same. So it's within that context we have both a broader partnership if we can negotiate that and find win-win opportunities that trade off against the two, which is what we're working hard at. And I'll finish by observing that Minister LeBlanc and my chief of staff are, as we speak, in Washington with colleagues having those discussions with their American counterparts.
Ņemot vērā pieprasījumu, tomēr vēl viens jautājums, bet tas patiešām ir pēdējais.
Thank you very much. David Aiken, Global News. And Prime Minister Selina, thank you so much for your hospitality. My questions are for Prime Minister Carney. I thank you for I just wanted a couple of things, just
Sure.
to get your first quick impressions about your tour of the submarine manufacturing facility, what you made of it, CEO saying, hey, maybe we could build these boats in Canada. So quick thoughts on that. And then on the ports, thank you for clarifying your remarks from this morning about the Port of Montreal might be first out of the gate, but Port of Churchill, maybe people are quite excited about the possibility of LNG coming out of Churchill. That, as you said, needs pretty much a brand new port. Is that a C5 project? And what is it about these ports that get them to the top of the list? Easy to do, you'll get the approvals. A couple of things on that would be great.
So let me say a couple of things, and let me preface I'm going to answer your question best I can, but I want to preface it with the following important point, which is we are running a process. We're running a transparent, open, fair process. We had 2 bids, the German-Norwegian bid that we visited today, and also a Korean bid from Hanwha that made the bar in terms of the capabilities and clear. And so we've accelerated the process because of that. That's the first point. And I'm looking forward to visiting with colleagues the Hanwha facility. And just to be clear, I mean, the experts will be making these decisions in case anyone's worried that I think I've developed a deep understanding of submarine warfare from playing Battleship when I was 12 years old. But what is striking about this situation, what we saw today, first off, the level of complexity of these of the submarines is considerable. It's more complex. The minister and I were discussing with the officials, more complex than the most complex aircraft in terms of the submarineomics, if I can put it that way. Secondly, the ability to operate under the Arctic ice for weeks on end. In fact, the binding constraint is food as opposed to fuel, air, water, any other factor. and this goes to today's topic, the importance of interoperability with other fleets, and it reinforces what we're talking about today, which is the risks that come, the very real risks that come. I'm going to pick Russia because they're the principal actor from the eastern flank, but also that Arctic flank, and the necessity of doing this. So those are three impressions, if I may. And of course, as I said before, the industrial benefits are important for Canada, and the ability to have components and build out from that is there. Yes, I'll finish. On the ports, I think you heard my answer on Montreal and Contrecoeur. With respect to Churchill, what's interesting about Churchill, and this is why it's important, and I think there's a bit more where it's one of the first potential ones, but there is much more to it than Contrecoeur in terms of what it potentially unlocks. So it unlocks, as you just said, LNG. It unlocks, and I salute Premier Canu's initiative here, it unlocks major indigenous leadership and participation. It potentially unlocks pathways for critical minerals and links into Europe. So it has an element, and I'll finish with this point because I know I need to finish. What are one of the elements that get projects up to the level of national interest? Diversification. Diversification across provinces, diversification of market, diversification of new activities that we haven't been doing at scale, because all of those elements are going to make the country stronger, make us more resilient, make us more prosperous across all of Canada. Thank you.
Paldies amatpersonām, paldies medijiem. Preses konferences ir noslēgusies, un es saprotu, ka tie mediji, kas vēlas doties lejā, piefilmēt zaļās zāles tikšanos, šobrīd seko personai pie durvīm.
I got that.
Paldies. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now we go back to work.
Thank you. We go back to
Very good, actually. I'll just take one. Here, I'll